What is up, my veggies? My name is VeggieTales Raymond, and welcome back to another Top 12. Today we're going to be counting down the Top 12 movies of 2015. Number 12, Get Hard. This movie, I had no idea what to think about it when I saw the trailer. I was like, oh, well, this is a thing. So, having a movie with Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart in it was a bit of a surprise, but I didn't know what the movie was going to be like, so when I watched it, I was actually surprised, because these two are very different actors, in my opinion, and their characters are very different types of characters, and you get to see Kevin Hart's style, and you get to see Will Ferrell's style in this movie, and the movie is pretty darn decent, if you ask me. It's not the best movie at all, definitely not either of their best film. But it's not a bad movie. It's funny. It's got some good jokes and everything. So, yeah. Number 11, Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. Now, going into this, I was not going to be able to say if this was a good or bad movie compared to the first one, because I never seen it. I still haven't seen it. But I thought, hey, I've seen the trailer for this. It seems pretty funny. It doesn't seem like I needed to see the first one to understand it, and it really wasn't that bad, and I didn't have to see the first one to understand it. At least I didn't think I did, because it seemed like it worked. I pretty much understood what was going on with this movie, not knowing the first movie. It was still pretty decent. It's definitely not one of the best comedies I've ever seen. It's definitely There are a lot of moments where you're expected to laugh when you don't. It has been a little while since I've seen this movie, so there's not a lot I remember. I do remember laughing at some of the scenes, but I also do remember scratching my head at a few, but it still was a decent film. Number 10, the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water. Now, I'm not a huge fan of SpongeBob. I really am not a huge fan of what is airing on Nickelodeon nowadays. But I do like a lot of the earlier seasons of SpongeBob, and I did like the first SpongeBob movie. And going into this, I was like, hey, I want to see this, but I was a little skeptical going into it as well. So from the trailer, we knew that there was going to be the original SpongeBob style, like 2D animation. And then we knew there was going to be the 3D animation, which this movie was a bit of a disappointment with that, because most of it was traditional SpongeBob animation, and then we went into the 2D animation, which was a really disappointment. I messed up. Most of the movie is 2D animated with this traditional SpongeBob animation, but only the third act is 3D animated, like in the real world and all that, which was a little bit of a disappointment. And I really didn't like that. And I saw this movie with not very high expectations. I'm not a huge fan of SpongeBob, but I saw it with decent expectations, and I actually did enjoy the film. It felt like classic SpongeBob, not modern SpongeBob. It felt like classic SpongeBob, so I really, really enjoyed that. And SpongeBob is just something I'm not a huge fan of, but this movie worked. It was decent. It was pretty good. Number 9, the Peanuts movie. Going into this, I was super excited. I wanted to see it in theaters, but I didn't get the chance to see it in theaters. But I was able to see it when it was released on a DVD, and boy, was this such a good movie. I remember watching the Peanuts cartoons when I was little, and I wasn't a huge fan of them when I was little, but that's one of the reasons why this is so only number 9 on the list, because I was never a huge fan of the Peanuts movies, but this one was so good, because you never see, lately, with adaptations and stuff, I don't know what I'm trying to say, this adaptation felt like it was just another Peanuts cartoon, but longer and 3D animated. It felt like a classic Peanuts cartoon, and that was pretty good. And the animation was good. It even looked 2D animated, even though it was 3D animated. It had a 3D, 2D-ish animated look to it, which I thought was amazing and just really nice. And the whole stuff with Snoopy and everything was like, that was awesome. I loved this movie. It was great, and I was so happy I got the opportunity to see this film. Number 8, Avengers Age of Ultron. This movie blew the first Avengers out of the park. I loved Ultron. He was a great villain. New characters were introduced very well into this film. CGI was used very well. It was good to see the Avengers again. It was good to see Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, all of them working together again, and with these new characters that we got in there as well. Quicksilver, and I can't remember the other person's name, but it was good to have them in here. And then we got the new character Vision, which was an interesting throw in there, which I loved this movie. It was great. It was well put together. Probably one of my favorite movies out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This was a really, really good movie, and it was just so enjoyable. I really, really enjoyed this. Number 7, Inside Out. This movie was a masterpiece. I was so shocked by how amazing this movie was. This movie had shock value. It was so good. Each character was good. Joy, disgust, sadness, anger, fear. Even the stuff with Riley was good. Everything about this movie was good. I feel like it didn't get as much praise as it should have. It did get a lot of praise, but I think it should have got just a little bit more. That's why I'm throwing my 2 cents in here. It's a pretty good movie. I wouldn't say it's Pixar's best movie, but it is one of their best movies. Number 6, Ted 2. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. VeggieTales Raymond, you think this is better than Inside Out? Well, here's the thing. I'm a sucker for Seth MacFarlane's work. And this movie was a great follow-up to the first Ted, which a lot of people thought this one was worse. I thought it was funny. And plus, we did get a My Little Pony cameo in there, so I liked that. And it was this movie was funny. It had good scenes. It had some references in it that I caught, which there's more I can say for the other one. There were some references in there, but I didn't catch as many of them as I did in this. Because in the whole scene with the whole Comic-Con thing, I liked. It was a funny scene, and it was good to see that in this movie. Number 5, Pixels. This one's really going to make some people mad. I don't hate Adam Sandler movies. I think they're funny. I enjoy them. A lot of people hate Adam Sandler movies, and I mean a lot of people hate Adam Sandler movies. But this was a fantastic film. I'm a sucker for video games, and it is so cool. I just loved this movie. It had great visuals. I thought the story was pretty good. I felt like it was well casted. There were a few minor things here and there, but we get this. They're playing The Last of Us in this game. In this movie. I thought that was so cool to see that being played on a TV in the game. In the movie. I thought that was so cool. But seeing all these classic video game characters invading and everything like that, I thought that was a really cool concept. And so, yeah. Number 4, Maze Runner, The Scorch Trials. Now, here's the thing. I know a lot of people have problems with these movies because they're not like the book. I can't have those problems because I've never read the books. But watching this as a film, not knowing the books, I loved this movie. It's definitely not as good as the first one, but this still had a good feel to it, and it was a good adventure film, and I cannot wait to see what happens in the continuation of this series, and I do eventually plan on reading the books. So, yeah. Number 3, Hotel Transylvania 2. This movie was, I think it's I can't decide if this one's better or if the first one's better, but I do think this movie had a good story, great returning characters, great new characters. I loved Mavis and Johnny's son Dennis. I loved that character. He was a good character. He had a good final scene. The final battle at the end of the movie was awesome, which was something that the other movie really didn't have. Was something big and epic like that. Which it was still, the first movie still works, but this one I felt like it had more action, which really wasn't the premise for the first one, but it worked here because one, this was a fun movie. This wasn't a horrible film because I liked the Hotel Transylvania series, which I'm pretty sure this is getting a third installment, which I cannot wait to see. And this movie did pretty good, and I think it got some bad reviews. I think it got some good reviews though too. So yeah, number 2, My Little Pony Equestria Girls Friendship Games. Now, this should not be a shock to anyone who watches my channel, because as you guys know, I am a brony and I love My Little Pony and I love the Equestria Girls series, even though a lot of people don't like the Equestria Girls series. I liked it, and this movie was no exception. I did a review on it a while back, and I thought it was awesome. I thought it was epic. I thought the final ending was good. The songs in this was pretty good. It wasn't as good as the songs from Rainbow Rocks, but it still had some good songs in it. And I felt like I was like on the edge of my seat because it wasn't as epic as the second one was, but I was on the edge of my seat in the third act and all the way at the end of the movie, which I was like, it was so epic seeing Twilight turn into that giant monster demon thing or something like that. I thought it was awesome, and Sunset Shimmer turning into this other good thing to try to calm her down or whatever. I thought it was a really cool scene, and this movie was awesome. Number 1, without a doubt, the best movie of 2015 was Star Wars: The Force Awakens, the 7th installment in the series. We got new characters, returning characters, a great story, great villain, just awesome, great soundtrack, great scenes, great battles. Everything has felt really good about this movie. There was even a sad scene, spoiler alert real quick, if you have not seen the movie, but Han Solo's death scene made me cry in the theater. Not gonna lie, but I did love this movie. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this top 12. If you did, please tap the like button down below, subscribe, leave me a comment, and a link to my Twitter, Instagram, DeviantArt, Tumblr, and Dailymotion will all be linked down in the description below, just like always. And do not forget to hit the notification button so you'll be notified when I upload videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!